Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Emergency declared in Dominica. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, September 20. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole West. Good evening. That state of emergency declared by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit after Hurricane Maria left a trail of destruction at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. there's a curfew, and that curfew has been recently imposed. 8 people have so far been confirmed dead as a result of Maria's direct hit on Dominica Monday night. Communication and power were knocked out from the early hours of Tuesday morning, but by Wednesday evening, there was word that some cell phone lines were up, although people were being advised to send text messages instead of calling. Prime Minister Skerrit's principal advisor, Hartley Henry, reported speaking to the Dominican leader Wednesday morning via satellite phone and getting an account of the situation on the ground. In the aftermath of the hurricane, Prime Minister Skerrit surveyed the damage via helicopter. Henry reported that there was no running water as a result of uprooted pipes in most communities. He also said the main general hospital took a beating, compromising patient care, and many buildings serving as shelters have lost roofs. Henry said housing has been severely impacted as well.
As the physical structure is concerned, fortunately, many of the roads were not as badly affected as we had feared, but certainly the housing stock is very, very severely damaged, if not destroyed in many instances.
What's worse is that the island had still been recovering from the onslaught of Tropical Storm Erica 2 years ago. As he compared the damage from the two systems, Mr. Henry says the housing stock was dealt a more severe blow by Maria. However, he says the country's roadways aren't as badly damaged because significant improvements were made following Erica.
Maria is by far more damaging to the physical landscape of the country as far as it relates to buildings and houses, because we now have far more persons who are now homeless and without a roof over their head. Erica was particularly damaging on the old infrastructure. Maria has been damaging on the housing stock, on the building stock, even in terms of the administrative buildings.
Despite the damage, Mr. Henry is confident that the airport system will be operational sooner than after Erica because of the extensive work which was done to the runway. Additionally, with resources from outside territories, he is upbeat that Dominica will rise because of the determination of the people.
But rest assured that Dominica, even though beaten, is not down. It was knocked to the canvas by Erica. It has now been knocked to the floor by Maria, but is nonetheless very determined to get back up and move again.
Meantime, Executive Director of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Ronald Jackson, anticipates that there will be billions of dollars in Dominica, with virtually every citizen either directly or indirectly impacted by Hurricane Maria.
I anticipate that it will be going into the hundreds of, potentially hundreds of millions. If we look at what was the Erica figure, which I think was somewhere in the region of 500, it was over $500,000 EC dollars. Not $500,000, $500 million EC dollars, I mean, $500 million EC dollars. Then you're looking at over billions of EC dollars impact. Right, so I can't put a figure to it, but I can tell you it's going to be significant.
Hurricane Maria also left its mark on Guadeloupe. 1 person is dead, 2 are missing, and there is widespread devastation. The deceased was killed by a fallen tree on Tuesday morning after the storm hit the island overnight. Flooding and winds have left 40% of the island without power, with the southern coast taking the brunt of the hurricane's impact. We get more in this special report from our friends over at France Caraïbes Broadcast.
Hurricane Maya, which was only a few days ago that a simple storm, made the Guadeloupe tremble last night. 2 people were killed, one of them by the fall of a tree in Capesterre-Bello, and 2 others are missing after the sinking of a boat of the Désirade. As of Tuesday morning, the prefecture lifted the violet alert, and the prefect delivered his first assessment. All the road networks are impacted by falls of trees, 40% of households with no electricity, and 25 have more access to the line.
And Hurricane Maria was Wednesday evening causing catastrophic flash flooding across parts of Puerto Rico. It made landfall just before dawn on Wednesday, having been downgraded from Category 5 to Category 4, and it knocked out power on the entire island. Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosselló announced a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew that took effect Wednesday evening and will continue until Saturday morning. Carlos Mercader, a spokesman for the governor, described the situation as total devastation and something of historic proportions. He told Reuters that in terms of the infrastructure, Puerto Rico would not be the same. Maria had earlier also impacted St. Croix and St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where it was a Category 5 hurricane. A U.S. Coast Guard official said the damage to St. Croix was especially alarming. Well, on Wednesday evening, the National Hurricane Center, the NHC, in Miami reported that conditions had already started to deteriorate over eastern Dominican Republic as Maria approached. It had weakened to a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds near 110 miles per hour. But the NHC says some strengthening is forecast during the next day or two, and Maria could regain major hurricane status by Thursday. At 5 p.m., the center of Maria was located 25 miles north-northwest of Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, and about 75 miles east of Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. It was moving towards the northwest at 12 miles per hour, and the NHC says it will continue to move away from the northwestern coast of Puerto Rico this evening and then pass over shore of the northeastern coast of the Dominican Republic Wednesday night and Thursday, and then move near the Turks and Caicos Islands and southeastern Bahamas Thursday night and Friday. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Turks and Caicos Islands, the southeastern Bahamas, and parts of the Dominican Republic. Meantime, CARICOM Chairman Dr. Keith Mitchell says it's clear the Caribbean region has a tremendous challenge on its hands following the widespread destruction caused by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. He says the devastation so far this season makes it difficult to decide which countries need attention most.
Little did we know that we were going to face a much bigger problem, because landed in Barbados Saturday evening, and the next thing we knew, that we were facing this problem in Dominica, which is beyond the reach of the Caribbean resources. When I spoke to the Prime Minister up to late last night, I mean, we just talking to him clearly demonstrated the severity of the problem that we face, and it seems like, based on what the latest reports are, the problems are a tremendous magnitude. The thing that we all have to learn and to know in Grenada is that when we were destroyed in Grenada in 2004, it was literally Grenada alone. So the focus of attention of the regional and international community was about Grenada. Today, the resources, you're not even sure which country you should be dealing with first, because you cannot forget Barbuda, which is totally destroyed. You cannot forget BVI, Tortola.
The Grenadian Prime Minister says no territory should let its guard down since the hurricane season is far from over. And he says it will take a united Caribbean effort to deal with the reconstruction of Dominica and all the other countries affected by storms this season.
The focus that we're seeing placed on countries internationally now in the United States, we're not seeing that focus When we were destroyed, George Bush provided tremendous support from America to Grenada's reconstruction. Today we're not even hearing a word about the Caribbean. The United Nations speech today, I didn't hear much about the Caribbean at all. And when we are facing almost extinction in terms of our physical situation.
And ahead in Caribbean Newsline, Caribbean countries urged to lobby for new criteria for receiving international aid.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
The government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority welcomes you to the most unique Caribbean island, Dominica. Bursting with life, with energy, Dominica enraptures you in the vibrancy of the 20th edition of the World Creole Music Festival, October 27th, 28th, and 29th. Windsor Park Sports Stadium, Roseau, Dominica, featuring Marshall Montano, Sweet Mickey, Movado, Kalasha, Bungie and Fayan, Class, Sakai, Zuko Stars, Roman Virgo, Itana, Issa Banton, Triple K International, Yemi Holiday, Musica All Stars, Breathe, Swinging Stars, and more. Be part of the spectacle. This is the World Creole Music Festival, held in the nature island of the world, Dominica. Season tickets US 125 or 325 EC. Nightly tickets US 48 or 120 EC. Visit dominicafestivals.com, where you will yearn for more. Say Musica Dominica.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
There's a call for the Caribbean to step up its campaign against the international community's use of per capita income as criteria to qualify for aid. The call came from CARICOM Chairman Dr. Keith Mitchell, even as the region is reported to be making headway in opposing the measure proposed by the European Union. Royal Titus reports that the issue is gaining major traction as a series of powerful hurricanes cause devastation and set back economies across the region.
Some Caribbean leaders say the region is making gains in its opposition to per capita income being used as criteria to distribute aid to small island developing states. Both the Bahamas Prime Minister Hubert Minnis and Erwin LaRocque, the Secretary General of CARICOM, are reporting some progress as a result of persistent lobbying.
That's a matter we've been discussing and in great discussion with the UN and other first world nations. And I hope they would see what we're talking about, because it is a serious problem, especially here in the Bahamas, where our GDP is greatly affected. We have areas like Life at Key, where they are the wealthy, and we would have areas like the inner city, where high poverty level. And when you look on the balance of scale, then the whole salary scale tends to shift. That's a serious issue that we must look at, and I think we are getting nearer and nearer to convincing the first world nations that it's a matter that has to be addressed.
2 years ago, on a visit to Trinidad and Tobago, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced that his country will no longer be granting aid to the region on the basis of per capita income. Secretary General LaRocque attributes Japan's change of heart to the region's robust opposition to the measure proposed by the European Union.
Japan no longer makes its aid conditional upon per capita income, and that is because solely because of the advocacy that the Caribbean has been doing. When we met Prime Minister Abe in Trinidad and Tobago 2 years ago, he announced that. At a certain point in the administration of the United States, they were considering it. I don't know what the situation is now. And we are hearing more and more that others are considering it. But Japan has taken the lead. I want to commend them for that. That per capita income cannot be a basis for doing so.
5 years ago at the ACP summit in Equatorial Guinea, then Trinidad and Tobago's Foreign Minister Winston Ducaran led CARICOM's opposition to the measure, insisting that other factors need to be examined, such as poverty levels and external shocks. The issue has been gaining fresh momentum as a major point of focus in light of the wave of hurricanes rampaging through the Caribbean this year, leaving a trail of death and destruction as well as battered economies. CARICOM Chairman, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says the region needs to keep up the pressure.
What we have to do in every forum is to restate the position which we have taken, that to graduate in countries because of so-called per capita, that formula is a farce. Because in one stroke of the pen, 1 3-hour notice in Grenada, for example, and the same thing can happen here. You can have so much disaster that can take you years to recover. And especially in a country like the Bahamas, you have so many islands. Even if you have one that is spared, so many other destruction can take place with so many of the islands that you have.
CARICOM sits on a $10 billion budget set aside for the World Small States Forum, which it chairs and which convenes next month in Washington alongside the World Bank and IMF meetings. The CARICOM chairman says the region needs to raise its voice at the Washington meeting by using climate change and disasters to advance the case for increased aid to the region.
Meantime, Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit also agrees that the use of per capita income to measure a country's ability to source grant funding cannot work for the region. Speaking recently after arriving in Antigua to lend his support to Prime Minister Gaston Brown following the devastation of Barbuda by Hurricane Irma, he said the region has to continue pressing for a reversal of the graduation and for a new measuring stick.
Our country's debt, the majority of our national debt has come from borrowing to respond to disasters. This government hasn't been reckless, in large measure. There may be one or two things in between, but generally speaking, governments have been very responsible in the way that we have treated our debt. But most of our debt has to do with responding to disasters of one or another. And we're saying that spend some time to look at the conditions confronting our countries. Look at how we live and look at the challenges that we faced. Challenges which are not of our doing. And let those things be part of your consideration in determining our ability to access funding.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, who was also in Antigua following the passage of Irma, says the current criteria are too narrow.
If in fact the world has accepted that the SDG goals is 17 issues, how can you be so narrow and so shallow to think that classifying us as a middle income country when we're small and vulnerable should only be measured by one thing? Okay, so there are too many different things that have to be taken into account. And that's why we're saying that there are also two other alternatives. We can't wait for the $100 billion. Why can't it be that for infrastructural development, for adaptation, that those loans could be classified as if we are a lesser developed country?
And Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he feels regional countries are being punished for properly managing their economies.
And whenever we have the impact of these hurricanes, then they use all sorts of methodologies as to why they cannot assist. And one of the situations there that utilizes the whole issue of per capita income. I imagine that will also affect the BVI. Although they are a dependent territory, so they have some kind of recourse to the United Kingdom. In our case, we're an independent country. And when you utilize this artificial measure to determine whether or not we're eligible, it makes it more difficult for us, because ultimately we have to suffer the consequence of climate change. Now, last year the country's economy grew by about 6.5%, and we were advised that we would have graduated as at the end of last year. So what they're doing now is that they're putting the mechanisms in place to officially graduate Antigua and Barbuda as a high-income country. So in essence, we have been penalized for success. Now, you know that we still have areas of vulnerability, and that is where we're saying that the argument should lie.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, a West Indies off-spinner whose bowling action was reported is cleared to bowl in international cricket. Stay with us. Sport is next.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with diabetes? If so, it is important that you know about Glucerna. Glucerna is a nutritional supplement for people with diabetes and contains Carb Steady, which helps minimize blood sugar spikes. Manage your diabetes with Glucerna. Glucerna, nutrition for people with diabetes, designed for you.
Part-time West Indies off-spinner Craig Brathwaite has been cleared to bowl in international cricket after having his action approved by the International Cricket Council, the ICC. In a release issued Wednesday, the ICC said Brathwaite's action had been found to be legal and the player can continue bowling in international cricket. The assessment of Brathwaite's action at the Loughborough Testing Centre in England last month confirmed that the elbow extension for all of his deliveries were within the approved 15-degree level of tolerance. Brathwaite was reported to the ICC following the day-night first test at Edgbaston a month ago when West Indies slumped to an innings and 209-run defeat inside 3 days. Known more for his prolific scoring at the top of the order, Brathwaite struck 134 and 95 in the second test at Headingley to help West Indies square the 3-match series with a 5-wicket victory. The Tourists lost the final test at Lord's by 9 wickets. Selectors have named a strong 13-man West Indies A to face Sri Lanka A in the first 4-day tests of the 3-match series set to bowl off in Jamaica next month. The squad will be again led by Shamar Brooks and include left-handed batsman Vishmal Singh and left-arm seamer Sheldon Cottrell, both of whom have represented West Indies in tests. Prolific Windward Islands batsman Sunil Ambrose, currently on tour with the West Indies one-day side in England, has been named in the unit. Also making a return to the squad is untested Jamaican speedster Reynard Leverage, who limped out of the first test of the last A tour of Sri Lanka last October while on debut and was sidelined for the remainder of the series with injury. The opening match of the series is set for the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium from October 11th to 14th, with the second match carded for the same venue 5 days later. Sabina Park in the capital Kingston will host the third and final match from October 26 to 29. And still in cricket, TNT Red Force are hoping to make amends in the Professional Cricket League, which bowls off next month. They are without a first-class that's title in 11 years and had a rough last season, losing 5 times in 10 outings to finish third in the standings as Guyana Jaguars took their third consecutive 4-day title. But this time, they're all out for a shot at the title.
Despite winning only 2 titles last season, the outlook for the upcoming regional cricket season is positive, with great expectations and vibrancy.
The national senior team, the season starts 26th of October, and we are hoping to build on the momentum we finished last year with. The last season, the guys won under Marlon Richards the 2 away games against Barbados, a place we hadn't won for I think over 12 years, and then the last match again up the islands. So we are hoping to build on that momentum. It's a young team. Possibly we may have some of our senior players back into the fray, based on their availability as well. So anticipation-wise, we are expecting that we're going to have a very good season.
Gus Logie was replaced as head coach of the senior men's Red Force outfit after 3 years. His replacement, Kelvin Williams, is no stranger, as he served as Gus's assistant and will be looking to build on the progress that Logie was able to achieve.
Under Gus Logie, I thought we did pretty good because we moved in the 4-day tournament progressively up the table, and we are heading in the right direction. We are hoping that with Kelvin Williams, now that Gus Logie is no longer with us, he has decided to move on, that Kelvin will be able to continue with his technical staff that growth process as far as moving up the table is concerned.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But before we go, some scenes of the destruction caused by Maria in Dominica. Some of these images are now coming in, and assessments are beginning on the loss of life and the damage to property that the Category 5 hurricane brought to the Eastern Caribbean nation. Our prayers are with the people of Dominica at this time.